Hello.
Hello. Okay,
and
thank
Sean
you.
Disappeared.
Now I just came back. Sorry about that. We are live.
Yeah.
Something happened to the stream, and it got rid of my video. But I'm still here, folks. I'm still here. Welcome everyone, and welcome to the Leftovers podcast. I'm your host Sean, joined by my PowerPoint expert Matt and Maia from the Electric State. And I just want to say how much of a pleasure it is to have you on.
Yeah.
It's great.
And thanks for inviting me. I'm really happy to be here.
No, we're really happy to have you, honestly. And if we weren't, we'd be just dishonest people. So we're not dishonest people here. I'm going to check something real quick on YouTube to make sure we're live. Because
I'm going to say that I speak for all of us, Sean, when I say that you losing video is probably the greatest thing you've ever done for the show.
Yes, it is.
I want to thank you.
Okay, we're good.
I'm going to take a moment while Sean's taking a look at that to give us a heads up on what is coming up next, right? So again, we're continuing with this busy holiday season. Tonight we have Maia Wilson. We'll talk about the Electric State and probably some other cool geek stuff. Next week we have Orcus Dorcas from the Titterpigs TTRPG podcast. It was funny. He sent us a note, said, "Hey, do you have any topics you want to talk about, or are we just going to talk about random stuff?" And I'm just thinking, yeah, probably just random stuff. After that, Turkey Day, no show. And then going into December, we've got, we're going to be at PAX Unplugged in Philadelphia. So looking forward, if anyone's out there, look for us. It'll be myself and Tier. Then not for the Leftovers show, but on and something a little extra. For the 17th of December, it'll be a Tuesday night. And instead of doing our regular studio recording of our Dragonbane show, Nathan is going to be running a one night live extravaganza, Oh Holy Night holiday live special game. The name of this game system, which I was never heard of until a couple weeks ago, is HOL, and it stands for Human Occupied Landfill.
That's where you got holy, guys.
I've started reading through the rule book and stuff, and the rule book is handwritten.
Oh, wow.
And it's like, I don't know. It's like, well, it's a world of garbage that you live on, and that's where you have adventures. And so I think it's going to be it'll be fit for the holiday season. So that's going to be Tuesday night, December 17th. And then for the rest of the month, we'll see with the holidays. I would like to squeeze in maybe another, leftover show before we all take a quick break until the new year. And then just as a side, I can't help but talk about it. Tonight is the eve of 13 or 14 years of Geek Weekend. For those who don't know, the group that's on the show and it's all real live friends. And we have other friends that who game with us outside of the show. And once a year, whoever's available, we all fly out to some sort of big house in the woods. And we always say we eat too much, we drink too much, and we play way too many TTRPGs all weekend long. And then everybody goes back, to their different four corners of the continent. But that starts first thing tomorrow morning. We'll be heading out to a new destination. So we'll see. So I don't know if you've got a special sort of thing with your gaming group that you do. If you do, it'd be awesome. Just let us know. Put something in the comment section. And Sean, I am going to turn this back over to you.
Oh, thank God. All right. So first, we're going to start with, here's the Twitter handle of our fabulous guests.
Yes.
Here's a YouTube.com at looking for mom TTRPG and https beacon.page / Maia, MIAIA's game room. Okay. So there you go. Please like, follow, subscribe, both of us. And this is our site, which we beat to death. All right. Now, so Maia has been doing this for about a year. Has it been a full year for you?
I've been in the TTRPG space since March of last year.
Okay.
So a little bit over a year. I think probably maybe a year and a half at this point.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they just wrapped up recently the first season of the Electric State. I did something, as I told her, totally
Crazy.
Irresponsible. But I listened to the very first episode and I listened to the last episode, which was, I know sounds crazy, everybody, but I did it because I like to see the development of somebody like us, somebody new, and how it changes. I'm not going to get into too much of the world of Electric State, but it is very fascinating. And I thought the way you put things together, and I'll get that to put everybody together, a cold start, so to speak, was very good. So introduce yourself to our current and future watchers.
Yes. So my name's Maia, and like I said, I haven't been in this space for too long. I've met a lot of people who are like, I was in my basement in the '80s, and the what was it? The demon. What was this? There's something about like
Satanic Panic.
Satanic Panic, right? Which I've never experienced. But I have that type of personality that's like obsessive on certain things. Like if I like something, I find it. So it feels like I've been in this longer because I've just been consuming so much, and I like playing different systems. I'm still learning about myself as a game master, but I like trying different worlds and different systems and different settings, and very happy when I found Free League. I wish I found Free League earlier, but yeah, and I'm the type of GM that likes narrative-based games. I want to role play with everybody. I want a good story. I want to hurt the players in a good way. But I just like
Nathan,
I want.
where's he?
Where's Nathan, right?
Oh, okay. But yeah, I want everybody to feel something. Anything that could be bad or good, anything in between. But I like those types of games, and I love music and filmmaking and things like that. So I try to incorporate that into my games as well, and have good ambiance and sound effects.
That is a similar thing to some of our other guests that bring up. They have that sort of desire or even that background. And like Nathan has that big audio recording I never knew about till we did this audio recording background. He's like our guru. And he does And Nathan, if you've ever noticed, he does self-help videos occasionally. Like, hey, I did something, watch me. Yeah. So that being said, when did you first get into TTRPGs, and like what game, how old were you, and what drew you to it? If you know, how'd you get hooked?
You didn't have to tell us how old you are.
Oh no, it's okay. It's okay. Guess how old I am. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. So So I mean, because it is interesting, because all of us started as kids, right?
Yeah.
Little kids. Yeah. And so and then my kids have started to play, right? But it's that similar age. What happened? What was the event? What was the occasion that first time someone was like, hey, you should check this out? You know?
So D&D has always been like in the cultural zeitgeist, and especially because I watched Stranger Things, which kind of like popularized it even more. And I saw the kids playing it, and at the time I was like, oh, they're just playing a game in the basement. It looks like fun. So I've always heard about it. And surprisingly, I didn't get into it until I was like 29, on the verge of 30 last year. I was at a work event where they flew us out to not Tennessee or some state for a big get together, and they were like they had breakout sessions during break time, and someone was hosting D&D, and I was like, okay, I'll just give it a shot. I'll just give it a shot. I've always heard of it. Why not? And so I played. They gave me a pre-gen. I didn't know what I was doing or what any of it meant. And then I had to leave early for the dinner meetup. And then I think I rolled a nat 20 because I rolled. And then everybody's like, ah! And I was like, what'd I do? I don't know what I did. Okay, I gotta go. So
I screwed up. No.
Yeah, I could have either rolled a nat 20 or killed one of my teammates. I had no idea, but I had to leave. But I just know that I had a really good time, and that the person who I went there with, he was like, here's a D4, and I still have it right here.
Oh, that's cool.
Like, this is your first D4 that you're going to hold on to. And I still have it. And so I had such a good time that I was like, there has to be more games somewhere. And then I found out that there was online games. And then I learned about Dimension 20 and Critical Role. I had no idea who that was and who they were. And then I learned that D&D is a little too crunchy for me. I think I was a month in, and I accidentally found Pathfinder. And I was like, no, that's even crunchier. Yeah. I went the wrong way. And then I I said, once I found Pathfinder, I thought, okay, so there's more games. It's not just D&D. So then I found City of Mist. And so City of Mist is now one of my, the Son of Oak game studio who makes City of Mist. They're one of my favorite game studios up there with Free League. So City of Mist is one of my top games, running a campaign in it right now. And then I was like, okay, so what else is out there? And then I just have a whole list, almost 30 games that I've tried out at this point, and more
incredible.
that I will in the future. But yeah, that's how it started off. Start off with D&D.
Well, that's cool.
And a pre-gen.
But I get it, because we our first game was which we were screwing around with recording, was Aliens, which is Free League, and they gave us their demo of the demo. Basically, we had
Yeah.
everything was still very
Page XX.
page XXS, referred to page XXS, and
Super
we're like
beta PDFs.
and but we played it and it was a hoot. We had a blast, and we had pre-gen characters.
Alien.
So, but we made them our own, and we had a blast, and that's the first time I died. And but it was
In
it
that
was,
system.
in that system. My characters never died before till we started playing Free League games. I'm telling you.
Yeah, Free League.
But-
I love that they don't hold back. You're not in like the high fantasy world at all.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's good and more risque. I like it.
Yeah.
And I get where you're going with that, and I think that's awesome. So now you start with D&D,
Yeah.
and now you have a podcast. You're doing the Electric State, and
Yeah.
so let's get into that a little bit. So tell me about the Electric State. I've listened to your podcast. I know what's up, but some of our listeners don't.
Yeah. So the Electric State is set in an alternate universe where it's the 90s that we know of. It's basically set in California, but now it's called Pacifica. There was a huge civil war in America, and so people started breaking away into like their own like federations and societies. And so now the main game is set inside of Pacifica, and there's no presidents that run the U.S. or anything like that, and there's neuroscapes, and it's kind of like cyberpunky a little bit in the sense of like the technology that was discovered. So it's like the 90s that you know, with that little kind of uncanny valley twist to it as well. But I would highly recommend like just starting off with the art book by Simon Stollenhag. Like I think Free League loves Simon Stollenhag because this is like their third or fourth venture with him, because he's done Tales from the Loop, and then the teenage version. I forgot what it's called. There's another one, but they like working with him, and I could see why.
Is it the Kids on Bikes?
Oh no! Kids on Bikes is a
No,
different.
that's different. That's different.
company.
Yeah.
But I can see how you got there because Tales from the Loop is based. It's children.
Right.
But yeah, so Electric State it's about the journey, and it tells you as you're reading the rule book. It's not about like you have a destination, but it's not about that at all. Oh yes, it's Things from the Flood. Thanks, Andrew.
That's it, yeah.
But Electric State is really about like what you do in between getting from point A to point B, and then what you see in between that. And you see people, they have like these neuroscape helmets on, and you go into like this alternate reality. That's the helmet right there, and it's like connecting to the internet kind of, but it releases like this drug called neurine. And so people get addicted to the drug, and then next thing you know, you have it on for a full month without eating, and then you get emaciated, and there's people who just kind of die off in their living rooms with that helmet connected to their head. And so it's very kind of like this world is like on the brink of an apocalypse. It's like
I can't wait to listen to the rest of these.
Yeah. So it's so
Free League
interesting.
loves a good ending world.
They love it. Free
Why,
League.
I mean, so for me, when you do the premise, you do the opening, and you talk
Yeah.
about it, and and I grew up with Mad Max.
Oh
And,
yeah.
and in the 70s and 80s, like we Matt is where we lived under the end of the world, World War III, the day after scenario. New missiles flying. That was real to us. That was a real thing. That was going to happen. We expected it eventually to happen. So that was always in the back of our mind. And so the apocalypse movies are great. And even like, I always like loved that sort of genre.
Yeah.
I love the different takes on it. And you have a very unique take on it. Like the end of the one episode I love where they're driving up and they find a bunch of people. I won't get too much of it, but they're all zonked out. And you're like, what the hell is this? It's just,
Exactly. Yeah.
and you got to think about it, and then you got to build around that. And it's not something I've seen before. So I congratulate on you making that sort of environment. That's really, really good. Really, I found it awesome.
It's really great
case-
because. Go ahead, Matt.
No, go ahead.
Oh, it's really great because I like that Free League. A lot of their games they're not making the players like these superhero overpowered type people. Like, and especially in Electric State, you are a human. Like your health is like 5 or 6. So if
Yeah.
you get shot, and a bullet does 3 damage, like you're near death. Like they're not. So even the players have to be like, do I really want to be a murder hobo right now? Because if I get shot twice, I'm dead, and like there's no coming back
Yeah.
from that.
Or
Like,
you can
I'm
lose a
already-
leg or a foot, right, Matt?
Yeah,
Somebody
yeah.
did in our game. Yeah.
yes. Or
Or a
just
leg gets
disappear
blown
from
off.
everyone's memory.
Yeah, that happened too.
so-
Exactly.
You have to leave it to the creators of this world. So if anyone is curious,
Yeah.
if you haven't picked up on this is a somewhat dark game, right?
Oh,
in
definitely.
that you have all these terrible things that have happened in these neurocasters, right?
Mm-hmm.
That the only escape from the awful world is also killing you,
Yes, exactly.
right?
Exactly. And it's really like a drug. It's like when people get addicted to drugs because they want that high so they don't have to live in reality.
Yeah,
So
right.
it's kind of like that. It's like,
No, you got like a cult and all sorts of crazy stuff going on. I'm just like, this is
Exactly.
pretty wild. It is,
Yeah.
you know, you got that's a great imagination and great, you know, the tone you said at the beginning, and just to so it's a cold open basically. It immediately goes to a character interacting with something and how the
Yeah,
other characters
yeah.
interact with them, and each of the characters have a different motivation.
Mm-hmm.
And some of them aren't obvious to the other characters, and everybody plays off of that pretty well. And I don't think I'm spoiling too much saying that, but if you see it, I think you'll enjoy it. But
I love a cold
s-
open because
Yeah.
I really love I love Dimension 20 and their style, and I take great like tips and tricks from what's the DM Brennan Lee Mulligan.
Brennan Lee
Yeah,
Mulligan.
so I really love his style as well, and he does lots of cold opens in his games. He'll start off and he'll be like, so we start off in this person's home, and we get to know that person for at least like 3 to 5 minutes. I really love that, giving everybody their own spotlight. So
Yeah, you know, and he can he's great like improv guy too. That doesn't hurt.
yes, and
yeah.
I love improv. Yeah,
Yeah,
Which
who
actually,
does?
if taking this, because my kind of walking backwards a little bit. So you got into gaming later, but there's a
Yeah.
huge jump to GMing.
I
So in this short
He set you
period
up
of
for that one.
time. Well, no, this is me. My brain's like taking
Yeah,
the
yeah,
time.
yeah.
I'm trying to put the time. I'm like, okay. And I only say that is that in our group we have some folks who are back in college when we all met. There were some folks who just GM'd most of the time.
Yeah.
yeah.
And there's people like myself, right, who didn't really GM till much, I mean, decades later before I really GM'd at even a semi-regular state.
Yep.
So,
And some of us not at all. Me.
Yes.
well, you
Oh,
tried to
Sean,
get me GM.
come on, Sean.
No, I tried
We
one
were-
night and somebody
we were trying
sabotaged
one
me.
He's still butthurt about it.
No,
Yeah,
it
I
worked
know
out. It was actually fun, but I still have it right here.
It's all on one page.
On one page.
Yeah. So what was that transition? So it's part of two-part was. So
Yeah.
One is, what was that transition where you were like, it's not enough to play. I wanna run. What got you into that, or what made you decide to make that leap?
Yeah, it's kind of like that cliche thing where it's like, I think I can run it better, or I think I could do this, but like I want to do it this way. And so it was kind of like that when I was running, and I was playing in a lot of like games, and like I said, when I'm obsessed with something, I kind of like speed run something. So that's why it seems like everything's happening so fast, because I played D&D, and then like 3 months later, and I was like, should I give it a shot? And so my first time DMing, I got a whole bunch of DMs, and I was like, hey, I think it would be a good idea if I ran for DMs instead of players, because you guys want to play, and if I have questions, I can ask you. And I wasn't too nervous, and so it came from like me wanting to try out, because I have a lot of stories to tell, and like I like that you can kind of how you can guide something, and how you can set up how you can volley something to a player and see what they do. And so I like that, and so ever since then I really like GMing. But I'm not a forever GM. I think I equally like playing and GMing.
That's fair.
So yeah, so that's
So
pretty
given
much what
that
got me into it.
and the design of the electric state being
Yeah.
where it's the journey and not the destination, right?
Yeah,
How did, because I'm assuming, and I just don't know, I'm assuming this story it's a homebrew, right?
this was a homebrew story. Yeah.
Homebrew
Oh, you can
story.
tell.
So how did that philosophy of the electric state, how it's supposed to be the journey, not the end, how did that affect how you built the story? story, or did it affect in any way how you had to sort of sketch out that outline? Clearly not knowing exactly what's going to happen, but
Yeah.
but I don't know if that made a difference or if it was different from other systems that you've played where kind of the destination is the objective.
Right. So I learned that because I set a time limit on this. I knew that I only wanted to do 10 episodes. The way that this is set up is that it's actually 5 sessions split in half. So technically we only played 5 times, and we were surprised because it was every other week, and we felt like we had a very good conclusion, like a full story. What I learned was I can't prepare as much as I did because I had a lot of stops prepared. And the rule book is actually really, really good at telling you how to set the mood, how to set the tone. It had lots of like lists and tables to grab from and say, hey, use this 90s stuff, but also here's the how to electrostatify it. And so it was like prepare stops, prepare threats, prepare goals for your players. And then I remembered, oh, we only have 5 sessions. I can't do all that. So I had prepared 4 stops. But then when I found that they were at 1 stop for 2.5 sessions, I was like, oh, we can't do 4. And so all the stops I had planned, I was like, we're only doing 1 stop, and we need to go. we need to get out of Bakersfield. Like, we got to get out of here. So yeah, I just kind of like shrunk my notes, took stuff out, and focus on their goals instead. But that's because I put the time constraint on us.
No, it's good. I mean, I wish we could do that, but we can't. We fail. We always drag it out. Now, too bad Malcolm ain't on. Our friend Malcolm is a big G, very, very good, and he would love to. He would probably go in depth with you about world building because he built a huge world and he has to shrink it down as well. I think that's a challenge anybody who's creative, and it must be. It's got to be tough. Like, what do you cut? Right? What do you cut? What for your story?
We you know what? I talked to the players after, and because we had that time constraint and we knew that we had like, hey, our last session's coming up, everybody knew like we're all in the same car and we knew where we were going together. And there was nobody who was like, hey, can we stop here? Can we stop here? Can you pull over? It was like I would send the players like, hey, this is what I want to hit for this session. And I wasn't giving them spoilers, but I was like, hey, can you guys, today I need you guys to get out of Bakersfield and be on your way to San Francisco. And then the players told me, oh, that actually helped out so much, because now when they're role playing and stuff, they know that the decisions that they're making aren't going to throw us off and for a complete curve. Like, we have 10 sessions to fix it. And so I would give them little heads up before games and be like, this is what I need us to get to. And so because we knew that we were like at session 4 and I'm like, hey, you guys, next week is our last session. And so it really helped them out. And I learned a lot. So now I think it's really good to have to tell your players, hey, this campaign is only 15 sessions, or it's 10 sessions, or something like that. Something that so they know I need to complete my goals, or I need to do this by this point because I know we only have this much time.
No time for shopping.
That's an interesting thing, because I know we amongst ourselves we kind of banter and make fun of each other. So I take a lot of flack for being the railroad guy, right? The railroading your players,
Oh, yeah, you do. You did do that.
But it's interesting to hear, because at the same time, I also there is a difference between just sitting down and going, well, we're going to play Electric State forever. Right.
Yeah.
And we're going to, and then I know pull back the curtain. It is a little different when you're making, because essentially you are playing a game, but you're also making a show. And I think it is a weird balance that people, and so, I take a lot of the railroad abuse, right? But at the same time, Nathan, I would kind of back it. He's the, what do you want to do today, guys? And sometimes that works. And sometimes it's everybody wants to go talk to the baker for 4 hours, So
now we had a game.
That's why we have this. This is why we have 45 episodes.
Chris went for that. So Chris went for that. We were playing Battle Lords, and I was there I was playing this. We were playing screwed up characters, but my character kept everybody on point. I was gone for 1 week. I come back and goes,
oh God.
Okay, we went and Sean. So while you were gone, they went the wrong way and inadvertently tripped the main bad. So all of a sudden we got bad guys running around the station. I'm like, I leave for 1 week. I leave for 1 week. I had one job and I failed. And then,
Yeah.
but
failed. That
I
one
failed.
entire story was I think it was 11 episodes of one running battle.
Yes, we were
Yeah,
rolling
that's
dice,
story.
fighting the whole time.
And I knew we only had 5 sessions, so
Right.
I was like, we can't. That's why I was like, you guys, we got to get out of Bakersfield. I was seeing that we were staying too long in one city, but yeah, I totally agree. And this is
great.
a very specific case, though. It's very like this is not all my games, and sometimes there was a level of stress too, which I think it helps as well, but you don't want that 100% of the time. So I also had my other game, which is more relaxed, and I can sit back, go ahead, talk to whoever you want.
Take your time.
Yeah, exactly. But this one, I know we had a specific goal. We had to get somewhere, and there's a lot of post-production stuff too. So, but the player said it didn't hinder them in their playing, and it didn't stress them out. Like they liked having those kind of rails a little bit, and it helped them out in role playing and stuff.
It's something nice sometimes to have benchmarks, right? Because then you focus
Yeah.
on hitting those sports. So I get that.
Yeah.
Now the question, something occurred to me while we're talking about the electric state in the world.
Yeah.
How did you settle on this to be in your first podcast? Like, how did you say, I'm going to take this turn? I'm not going to be happy-go-lucky or real crunchy. How did you set up, I'm going to make this really messed up world where people die watch on a video monitor or could die, and the other option is not that much better. Or I can go join a cult and kill myself. I mean, what's
Oh, that is part of the story. You just gave away a spoiler.
No, I didn't.
I think it's in the first episode.
Yes, you bring it up in the first episode. So
Yeah. I got heavy inspiration from The Last of Us. That kind of bleak society.
Oh
And
yeah, that's a bleak.
Where you're just thinking about like
dark.
Yeah, no, it's dark. It's bleak. It's like
That is my favorite. If people ask me, that is my
Yeah.
favorite video game of
it's
all time.
great. It's basically
And
a
I
movie and a
always-
video game, and I love it.
It is, and I always tell people one of the things I like about it the most, and this is how weird everyone's got their own weird thing. I love that it ends with a lie. Because the very last thing he does is lie,
Yeah.
right, to her, right? And I'm like, he's not the hero like you would
No, he's not.
want a person.
decision
hero
is
to be.
selfish.
It's a very selfish hero.
Joel's
right?
not.
So
Joel's not. But
Right.
okay, small
Sorry.
tangent. Small tangent. I was talking to someone last year, and they were like, "I don't like that he lies," and I was like, "What?" But that's what makes us human. It's a very human thing for him to do. That's what a father would do to their child to mask the pains of the real world. That's the realest thing he could have done. Maybe not the nicest thing, but it was like, yeah,
Yes.
that makes sense. And
And
I
a
like
father, and I've seen parents from my old profession do things for the service of their child that are absolutely wrong, and they know
that.
it's wrong.
Yeah.
But it's their child. It's my blood. I had to do it, and I'm just sort of like, oh my God, it's absolutely wrong
What
thing, and other
wouldn't you
people
do?
got hurt from
Right.
it. So it's like he was faced with that rock in a hard place, and he chose the hard place versus the rock. That's the story, and you sort of do. That's a good inspiration. I get it. I see how you went in that direction.
Yeah.
Why
But
we
yeah,
can't do
I
anything
got
serious.
I got inspiration from that. And I mean, the world is already kind of bleak. If you read the rule book, if you read his illustrative book, it's hard to find like hope. But I like that there is a hope mechanic in this game because it is about people who are. How are you still going to find hope and have goals in a world that is so dark? That is about to go on an apocalypse. And so that's why the players have goals. And like when we're during character creation, what is your dream? And it all affects you as you're playing. And so, I wanted a dark setting. I wanted dark things to happen, but like, it was all collaborative. The players, we came together in session 0 and they were like, this is what I want for my character. Like the girl who played Catherine, she was like, I want to be a mother whose son joined a cult and the cult leader had certain people commit suicide. And I was like, that goes with the setting? Yes, please. Now, what are the goals? Should we all go to San Francisco? Where are we traveling? And then we decided like, what if he has like his headquarters in San Francisco? And then so we're all just collaborating that way. But it certainly wasn't only me who decided to be this dark. Like, that was all their ideas, all the dark stuff. I just run with it. And
It
they'll be
was
like,
me who was dark. No.
yes, I make them regret it. I'm like, oh, yes, thank you. I had one player who like gave me very basic stuff about him, and then I like created his father, and his father was a psychopath, and I just kind of ran with it. And I just love to see the regret in the player's eyes as they give me all these choices.
I'm going to get it wrong, but there was a
Yeah.
podcast I was listening to, and they were talking about like they called it like the three knives, like having
Oh,
three
yeah, the
knives in
knives,
your
yeah.
back or something. Yeah, right. It's clearly, when you do a backstory, you have to realize you're just handing the
Yeah.
GM all the tools they need. But
Exactly.
it's also what makes the story interesting, right? If your character, we actually joked, we'd recently run something with some guests where just the luck of the rolls, like my character was like from suburbia, had a great background.
yeah.
His parents were still
Oh.
married. Like everybody else had all these awful like things. Like,
Oh, I was
weird.
I was a freaking religious nut.
Yeah, everyone
gotta
had
have
all these
one.
awful
I-
things, right?
I rolled
And
into it, too.
I literally was like, I said that like, I'm that my nightmare is that I woke up and I'm 35. I'm still at home with my parents, in my basement, right? Or something.
Yeah.
Like he didn't have anything wrong with them. And I was like, that's not an interesting character. So
You played it well. You played it well.
so the electric state. So we're gonna take a real quick. I gotta do
Oh,
it.
here it
Sean.
comes.
Sorry,
Here it comes.
I know. Here it comes. It's the
Maia, I'm sorry you have to
the
deal with this.
mandatory.
You're going to need
All right,
therapy after
so-
It has
it's
to be
done.
done. It has to be done.
I know it has to be done. Hey, folks, if just let you know, holiday season is coming up, and that means shipping dates are fast approaching. If you want to get your special game or somebody some awesome stuff, look, hop on over to our store. We've got all original art for our new Dragonbane on mugs, T-shirts, and look, if you're not into Dragonbane, if you know a gamer in your life that's maxed out their age stat or is about to, this is
Yeah.
the gift for them, right? Get an AARPG, a T-shirt, something they could put their coffee in, or their Geritol, or whatever they're using to stay alive for a few more years to play.
Maryland.
But yeah, times are short. All the stuff you see here is original, either commissioned. Well, I guess it's all commissioned from a lot of our stories. So yeah, just come on by before it's too late and you're having to explain why their gifts aren't arriving until January. So there you go. Quick, I made it quick, Sean. I'm done.
Thank you. I was about to hit the button. I put you on a secret timer, Matt. I just want to let you know.
I have a small confession. I didn't know what AARP was, so I did have to Google it. So I do
That's fair.
understand. I do understand the jokes.
Is
You get
what
it, right?
I'm in.
Well,
and AARPG is what we did.
Okay,
So
got
what's
it.
interesting is AARPG will never be able to actually like trademark that term AARPG. It's real geeky. So
Yeah.
it also stands for the auto advancing role playing game. So in the video game industry, it's like the early Diablo game. So if you're level 1, the monsters are level 1. If you're level
Yeah.
10, the monsters. So it's a game that responds to the player's level.
Okay.
And so that's this. I'm really sorry. That was another term.
No, because we went over this whole Matt. They came up with this, and Matt was trying to trademark it or do copyright it, and he was like, "Oh my god!" He started finding all of this stuff that we were unaware of.
Yeah.
So, anywho, back to the important thing, which is the electric state.
Hey.
So, so the game mechanics in the electric state, which are using the free league system, right?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
you push dice and things and
Yes, yeah.
do you find and when you fail pushing dice, you get stress and you get stuff like that. I believe.
Yeah, something similar.
Lose
yeah.
hope, right?
You lose hope.
Let's use hope. You guys use hope. That's right. So do you think that system fits? It sounds like you already said it, but do you think that
Yeah.
system really fits well? Yeah.
I think it's perfect for the type of story we were trying to tell. Every single piece of the mechanics are there for a reason. So when it asks for your dream or it asks for your flaw, it's not like, oh, this is just for roleplay reasons. Like if you like to level up, I asked that you're supposed to ask at the end of the session, did anybody follow their flaw? Like, did anybody go
Yeah.
along with that? Because then now we can roll to level up one of your attributes. It's
Dragon
like
Bane's
every-
like that.
Yeah, so every single piece it goes hand in hand with the mechanics, and they're there for a reason. I think the only thing it asks for is like, what's your character's favorite song? And that's the only thing that like it doesn't really mean anything. But other than that, and the mechanics I like the most that they can just get out of the way too when I need them to, and we're not caught up in the minutia of like very crunchy mechanics. It's very easy. The attributes. If you have six in your strength, you roll 66, and that's it. It's like super easy.
Yeah, that is easy. I agree. So, given that we understand you love this system,
Yeah.
is there other systems you would recommend to people, like gaming systems that come to mind?
Like in similar veins. you mean?
Could be
Or-
similar vein, or could be something a little different that you just like playing, but it's
Oh.
not for this genre. But like,
Yeah.
What do you like?
For sure. I am currently heavily in the Nimble server. Have you guys heard of Nimble?
I have now. Tell me.
Oh, okay. So
I'm writing this
Nimble-
down.
Nimble is like the it used to be called Nimble 5e because a guy named Evan Diaz, he took D&D 5e and basically stripped it of everything that kind of makes it crunchy and slows down the game too much.
Really?
Yeah, and so he called it Nimble, and then recently he had a Kickstarter for his version 2, which he made into his own system completely. And I would recommend that because I still like playing heroic fantasy.
Oh, there we go.
Exactly.
Is
And
this
so,
it right here?
yeah.
Oh my God.
So I recommend it because like it's just so quick.
You have to
Like
look
this
at
is
that.
this is the D&D that I want to play. I just want. I
Oh,
want,
you just opened the door for us. Thank you. We're gonna check that
yeah.
out.
There's no more. You don't roll a d20 to hit. You just roll damage. You know, it's like he took out a lot. And you get 3 action points, kind of like similar to Pathfinder. So he's taken
Yeah,
from like
okay.
a lot of different systems. But if you look into it a little bit more, and there's like free core rules if you guys want to look in here about just how quick everything can be. And I would recommend Nimble 2. If you still like heroic fantasy, but you want it to be quicker.
Okay.
Yes.
No, that sounds interesting. And if Nathan's
That-
watching, he's probably already trying to buy it. I know
Yeah.
Malcolm might like that too.
Yeah, so I don't play D&D anymore. I'm switching like fully over to Nimble, and it's so like a comment says, Nimble is so easy to pick up. You can create a character in 5 to 10 minutes. Leveling up is easy. Like he's just stripped down like so much stuff. He's removed the 6 core stats, and now it's 4 core stats. Like he's truncated skills. Like D&D has like 17 skills or something crazy, and now there's like 10 or 11 because he took out the ones that you never call for. Just kind of like the roll nature or something, you know, just like or animal handling. Just like he's like cut out stuff that you haven't been called in like a full 6 months or something.
Oh, that's cool. That's
But Nimble,
cool.
I would recommend Nimble.
No. We're gonna look that up. I thank you for that. That's something
Definitely.
new, and
Appreciate it.
and these guys are like, especially Matt and Nathan, to go to these cons and see everything. How'd you miss that, Matt? How'd you miss it?
I don't know.
Oh, you failed,
We
man.
learned stuff. Well, we learn stuff all the time. I've never heard of, what's this company?
What's he reaching for?
Magpie. Magpie is a great company. They've got great games, and it will just right back. If you ever looking for like a more of a one shotter, this is a great game, Zombie World.
Oh, okay.
Because it is role playing. There are, but it's more of a card kind of game. But so yeah. We're always finding new studios, new game. I mean, there's so many people out there creating. So no, this is cool. So I've actually saved this site for the Nimble. So I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Please.
Now, this is important because this isn't your only realm
Oh.
you're in. You're not just in the realm of the electric state. You are
Okay.
part of a group called Looking for Mom.
Yes, I am.
So tell me the story. Tell us the story. We're like empty vessels that need to be filled with knowledge. Tell us the
Okay.
story of Looking for Mom.
I will
And
fill
where the
you.
name came from.
Yes, and that's true. I figured that'd be in there, Matt. But
Okay, so Looking for Mom, I think we just met up one day and said, what should we call our channel? And then we went through like a list of like 10 to 15 names. We kind of just collaborated together and just decided that at the time there was like 2 or 3 of us who were in games who had like mommy issues, or just like moms were missing or something. And I was like, should we call Looking for Mom or something like that? Or just like,
good.
because like there's so many games too where they're like someone has like a parental type of issue, or you're an orphan, or you're looking for your mother, or something like that. And so that's why it's just like that trope in TTRPGs or movies and stuff like that. So that's where the name came from, and it was silly. So why not? But we decided that we kind of want to do like what you guys do. We wanted to make a space where it shows the diversity that's in TTRPGs. So not only that there's more than just D&D out there, which is the most popular. We wanted to show diversity in who's running the games too, because there's a certain kind of there's a certain kind of face that you see commonly in the TTRPG space, and so we wanted to.
Finding
wanna-
Mom will be the ultimate
You can say it.
adventure.
We're painfully aware that
Okay.
Yes, we are painfully aware. of
Listen,
it.
if we're talking statistics, we usually see white males playing these type of games. I know, but I didn't want to get political. Okay.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
it's
you're
totally.
fine.
We told Malcolm over and over again, Malcolm, we did not bring you on just because.
Diversity hire. Tell him I said it.
No, he is. He is. I slip him a $5 every once in a while.
Thanks- thanks for making us
Malcolm's our
look good,
double-
man.
Malcolm's our double hitter, right? So he's both. He fills a couple of our.
So
no,
I seen Malcolm. I was
our-
surprised. I was like, hey.
You know what's funny is
okay.
that it is a little weird around this. So it is weird. Like our group, right? Like
Yeah.
our actual gaming group from college.
oh my
is
God, we're so
actually-
diverse.
Well, right, is actually very diverse, and from
Yeah.
that subset, the people that started
Well,
the podcast.
so age
are-
catches up.
some
one of
us
our
aren't
one of our
here- right.
yeah, some of us aren't here anymore, fortunately.
Right. Some of us
Yeah,
aren't
so-
here
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah,
But
you
yeah,
missed
it is-
you miss it. You missed one of our friends. I got to put out my late friend. He converted to Islam. His name is Leroy. He converted to
Yeah.
Islam, and he was great. He passed away from cancer. We had a few
Matt,
Latino
Doc
people,
Brady, so
Brady, women. We had like a very diverse group. Then when we pulled this all together, we looked at each other like, we're all white dudes. What the hell happened to everybody?
It was
And then
a
we
spider-
started.
and,
The Spider-Man
they-
meme where they're all
And
pointing at
everybody
each other.
moved away, and we just couldn't. And
Yeah,
then Malcolm's
yeah.
like, "I'll play." I'm like, "Thank God." So it's like Jesus, and we all look like terrible. Get up here, God.
But yeah, so we wanted to on our group we have me, we have in terms of like race, we have like a Korean Canadian, we have another woman,
Here
one
we
more
go.
white guy, one Latino man as well. But we want to. I especially want to show people that there are people who look like me who play these games.
Oh, yeah.
I wish there was more of us out there. I'm always surprised when I see someone who looks like me. That's why I really appreciate like seeing a Bria Iyengar on like Dimension 20 when she runs.
Oh, yeah,
games,
yeah.
Because I'm like, oh, that's awesome. Like she gives me.
And she's very
she,
good,
like,
very
she- yeah,
talented.
she pumps me up, and I really like to see it. And so I want to show people that like, hey, there's more of us out there. That's why I
Yeah.
was so excited when Black Panther came out like a few years ago. 'Cause I was like, oh, nice. We can finally see like black people on the screen that aren't like struggling, and we're like they're in Wakanda and they're thriving in this really cool, awesome society. And
Yeah.
so yeah, I want to present and represent it like that. So
No, that's
we
good.
interviewed Malcolm for the show. We have the cast interview. One of the
Oh, yeah.
things that was telling in the interview
Yeah.
is he talked about the 5th edition player's guide
Yes, he did.
and opening it up and the human fighter, right? And
Yeah.
saying, hey, here's the first, because he's been playing these games for, with us for years. He's like, here's one of the first times I've opened up a game book and I can relate, I can see myself represented
awesome.
on the sheet. And so, yeah, I think, Nathan and I did some interviews with, like, there is definitely, I think it's like with a lot, it is definitely moving in it's moving in a more diverse direction all the time. I think there's voices out there. Everyone loves to tell stories. Like storytelling is
for
a
sure.
human
Yeah.
thing. And so, yeah,
it's a hard thing to kind of skip. I think in that Nimble game that I was just telling you about, I was reading through like the beta PDFs and looking at the art, and it's easy to skip over. But none of the art had any kind of like diversity. It was all kind of like light skin toned, like the usual stuff that you see. And I pointed it out to Evan, who's like the creator, and he was like, "Oh, I didn't even notice. I just asked the artist." And it's like a blind spot. And so all you have to do is just kind of like nudge people respectfully, like, hey, next time you draw something, think about adding in some more diversity. And I know I had someone who made a comment like, hey, it's fantasy, calm down. And it's like, it's not that. It's not just that. It's like we got to represent everybody who's playing these games as well. It's not.
well, yeah, I
Yeah.
people like to, I mean, we all, I don't know, we picture ourselves as heroes.
Yeah.
We can't help but project a little bit of ourselves into those depictions,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Yeah.
And so to have that kind of cut off, I know, like I'm. It's funny. We're gonna go. We usually don't get on these kind of topics, but
Yeah.
like
No,
that's
it's
the
a good
thing, like,
topic,
I hear
man.
the same thing about like people go crazy about like, oh, they want to put wheelchairs in like Pathfinder and stuff like that. And I'm like, you literally have a character that can turn into a bear and like fly across the world and cast fireballs, and you're mad because someone's going to have a floating wheelchair. Like, I just think there's, I think that I think what they took, it is fantasy. So people should relax and let people do what they want to do. Sorry, that's my soapbox for the
No,
night.
I completely agree.
I'm going to get on the soapbox now and talk about
Oh no.
how the Irish are underrepresented.
Oh, we need
No,
more
just
potatoes in our game.
That's right. That's it. The potatoes. That's all I'm going to. Obviously, my handle is Potato Ambassador, but no, but it's diversity. And I said this. I typed it. Malcolm Ross.
they're in my
Speaking of which, my ears are burning. So diversity
Hey,
of
Mac,
thought.
it's nice to see you in the group, and I know that you're the diversity hire, and it's okay. We're doing
Sean,
God's work over here.
Yes, that's right. That's right. The straight white guy's talking, Malcolm. I know it's terrible,
I
but old school terms. But anyway, it's diversity. So when you bring that diversity in a game and a background of thought, it just makes the game more interesting because you get a different perspective. And I think, and that opens your mind. Gaming, the thing about gaming people, when you get a bunch of people at the table who are decent people and like-minded, it helps you. You get, after a game, you learn more about their culture and their beliefs, and it just gives you a better perspective of in general of the world. And music does that, comedy does that. And that's why I like music and like it because you get more input and more things that are out of your, not necessarily out of your out of your comfort zone, just out of your world, expand your worldview for lack of better words.
All pieces
now we
of
just have
art
to-
do that.
Yeah, and I want to thank you. You're the second person. We had the Nuadian Chronicles, the husband and wife, and forgive me, I forgot the wife's name. But we did a demo run of theirs, and she did an amazing job. I'm terrible. I'm old, man. I got hit too many shots to the head. But anyway, she did an amazing job, and you do an amazing job. And I think it's a disservice, like to women or other people, because it's like it's once you see people. I mean, I was talking to that guy who's a firefighter. Literally today, he's black and he's a nice guy, African American, whatever. I say, because I don't know if he's Caribbean or whatever.
Yeah.
But he's talking about when he was a kid. He's like in his 40s. He goes, "Yeah, man." He shows up on a fire. His family lives in a house, and the kid's crying. So he goes up to him like, "Okay, man." He wanted to take a photo. The kid was black, and the grandmother goes, "Can you take a picture of you? He's never seen a black firefighter."
Sheesh.
And I went, "Wow!" And I said, "Yeah, man, I did that. I never thought of that." And his kid saw me and saw he could be me. He never thought, because this was a poor area.
Yeah.
And I worked in Baltimore, and inner city, and you meet these kids that are like, I used to tell them, like, dude, they'd see a black cop and they'd be going, yeah. I said, you can get out of these blocks, man. You can do anything.
Yeah.
I said, and it's, that's so important. That's so important that people get to see, and who are in disadvantaged places to see that somebody who they identify with, like, a black woman's going to identify with you and say, oh, if she could do that, maybe I can do it too. And that's inspirational. It's important.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's so good to actually see it, because we can get so in our heads and be like, I'm the only one experiencing this and nobody else is experiencing this. But as soon as you hear somebody else, you're like, oh, you go through that too. Oh, I could do that too. I didn't even know. And then once you see it, you're like, okay, I can do that. If you don't see it, it makes it harder to kind of believe it. And I like that. Like, and I thank you guys for bringing me up, because it's all about us just kind of like raising each other up,
I was excited. I was excited to get
This
you on.
is
I was very
about, like,
excited.
you grab somebody up and you showcase them, and I appreciate that you guys did that for me. And our little Looking for Mom channel is like around 200, and
That's good.
so you bring somebody up. Yeah.
It's a steady climb, right? And
exactly.
we've been really happy with the whole sort of indie TTRPG community so far as a whole. I think
it's great.
It's a lot of kindred spirits, a lot of people willing to, showcase. Like, we have there's no, I don't know well, I won't speak for Nathan. Nathan's because he loves his like sound work and design.
Yeah.
I think for most of us, we
does.
don't have anything to prove. We're not trying to be, there's no competition, there's no ego. And so this is why we have other, like, we kind of joke about it. Like, should we really be helping all, but we've talked about this, right? But the answer always comes back to yes, we should be helping each other, because there are a lot of people out there. It is hard to get discovered.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a long game.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know,
Yeah.
So.
Oh,
We're
Malcolm.
getting close.
Malcolm's
I know,
very
now.
fond of the name, the Looking for Mom. By the way, so
Thank you.
and
So
we
we're
also have
going-
that's a second, Matt. We also have Only Dads too. You know, we have that. Matt set that up, and we have
I do
Only
not have
Feet.
an Only Dad.
We're
Only
trying to make
Feet?
We do not.
Only Feet. We're trying to make a little extra
None
money.
of
Only
these
Feet.
things.
Matt has gout feet. They don't do swim, but Nathan,
All right.
man, his toenails, amazing. I'm just gonna say.
And
But
that's
anywho.
where we'll end our. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, I know. That's where we'll end
on
tonight. too.
Only Feet.
I know. Oh my gosh. So.
Oh my God.
Oh my.
Gotta have a little
no,
comedy in
this is-
there.
Thanks. Thanks.
So we
Darcy.
are getting close to the end of the hour, and it went by really quick. I did
Yeah.
want to ask maybe.
Thank you, Darcy.
Two things, right? We're not really
Yes.
one. Well, one is not really much an ask. So not just you're in your group, you play, but you also are a professional GM, right?
Yeah.
You've done, and which I know. So that's the thing. Like I've told people, I was in New York traveling with family, and they were doing some stuff, family stuff, and I'm like, hey, I got online, I looked, I went and paid like $25 to play a game at a place called like the D20 store or something like that in Manhattan.
Yeah.
I played with one local, two people traveling from California, and myself. And the store was great. The lady who ran it, she literally they were paid GMs by the store. She had designed a training program that was a mix of customer service and D&D. And so, and so I had a very positive experience, and I'm just wondering, I don't know if you've dipped your toes into that realm, if you've been a positive experience, whether, or if you've got any good horror stories, but I almost feel like maybe that's a callback. Maybe we should save that for a callback.
About to
'cause I
say,
want
you're
be a
trying to
whole
give
different.
She's gonna have PTSD when she gets off there.
I have a really good vetting process for who's at my table. So I have not got any real crazy nut jobs at my table, and I'm very happy about that. It's been very low stress for me. But in terms of like the pro gaming, I'm still very new with it. Mostly my games are free, but I have done like a mini campaign, some one shots and stuff like that. But it's been smooth sailing. Everybody, because they pay and you know that they want to be there. And
That's what I've heard too. You get less. I guess the term is flakes. Less committed. More people are more committed when they're putting money behind it.
Yeah. I mean, you'll still get ghosters and flakes, but it's less. But but yes. But I don't have any horror stories. But if you go on the.
Oh, you will.
Yeah, not yet. Sean is trying to curse me right now.
No. I'm just preparing you. I'm just letting you know it happens. You can't stop it.
Maybe a minute or two past. I've been dying to ask a question, but I know this is not like a 1 minute answer. So okay.
No, it's good. Ask.
All right. So in for a group like ours that's known each other forever, right?
Yeah.
We don't have we have session zeros, but they're very mechanical, right? We all know each other. We don't really do we don't have a lot of bound setting kind of things you would do if you're playing with people you don't know as well, right? Given that, there, without giving any spoilers, there is an incredibly tense scene in one of your episodes.
That could be any of them.
Okay,
That doesn't narrow it down at all.
I'll just say it has to do with rats.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
there you go.
I'm just right, and I'm not going to spoil. But that's so. Okay, as a GM approaching a scene,
Yeah.
that's evolving like that.
Yeah.
How do you handle a difficult subject matter?
Yeah. So it is part of the session zero. So we go over lines and veils. For this game, I let them know. We had a very extensive, I let them know this game is dark. It's bleak. And, okay, Andrew. Okay. That's Andrew. He's one of the GMs who are also part of Looking for Mom.
He's sniping you.
He's like, listen, okay, maybe that's true. But no, we go over like, hey, this game is very bleak. The usual stuff that is behind the veil is going to be seen. So we're not holding back as much as we usually do in other games. And I said there's going to be stuff like this, potential for stuff. And there was a moment where a man was going up to a woman, and there was some potential for some stuff to go down between them too. There is a moment where we do like take a breath though. Like I stopped the game and I went, "Ugh, I feel disgusting," because I have to be that person. So I stopped and I said, "I feel disgusting," and it was kind of that thing of like, "Do you want to keep going?" Like to the person I'm talking to, like, "Do you want to continue this? Because we're going far. This is farther than people usually do in TTRPGs." And then she was like, "I feel gross too," and then she was like, "But yeah, let's keep going. Let's keep going." And then so obviously I cut all that out, but we like took a breath and then went back into it because we were going farther and farther, and it was getting to the point of no return. And so I had
committed to it. You committed to the bit. Yeah, you committed.
As I was
I
listening
admire
to
that.
this, I was like, oh,
Right?
I was like, oh, it was very, it's
Exactly.
it was not a calm listening experience.
No, it's that. No, if your heart was beating, ours was beating 2 times faster. That's why I had
Yeah.
to stop and be like, "Hey,
Oh, yeah.
we're getting to the point of no return. Or do you want to keep going? Because it's getting crazy." She's
Yeah.
like, "No, it's good. It's good." And so it's okay to take those breaks and like check in again and be like, "Hey, we talked about lines and veils already, but I'm just checking in. Do you want to continue?" And she was okay with it, and so we kept going, and thankfully nothing happened. But it was like 90. It was like we were like 90% about to do it.
Oh wow. Well, hey, if it's good, it's a good story, and you commit to it. Yeah.
But it was real. It's that kind of like uncomfortable reality of like
Yeah.
what would actually happen. It wasn't like, oh, we're in this fantasy world, so let's not think about the real world. But like we were in it. Like I love realistic NPCs, and so I have to be that guy, and I have to act like he would act, and so that's what he would do. But I stopped in the middle and said, do you want to keep going still? Because I had to be like, ugh, let me shake him off real quick. I felt like slime.
Wow. Impressive.
Yeah.
Impressive. You should get an award for that. I don't know what award you should get, but we need to make up one.
I think
Yeah.
my reward be that Sean listens to the whole season.
I'm going to listen to it. No. I listen.
You need
He.
to know what we're talking about. This,
I know,
I'm
he
going to
did.
get through
No
it.
idea.
I'll
3
get
or
through
4
it, and
episodes in.
I will get through it, and I will comment on it. But my whole thing right now is, I had like I knew you were coming on a week ago, and I just had no time to listen. So I'm like, I got 2 days. I got to get. So I'm gonna, and I said, I've never done this before. I'm going to do this, and hopefully my head won't explode. And I listened to the first, and I could see the progress in your style, by the way. Like, it's a little smoother.
Yeah.
And I think that's great. And you picked up some valuable lessons.
For sure.
I like the music. I like all of it. I mean, having you on here is a blessing, really, because I really like your take on it and how you function and how you explain it. I always like that. And some
Can
of
I
the other
ask
topics.
you guys a question before
Yeah,
we
of
go?
course, we're open.
Okay, so Sean has only watched 2 episodes. Matt has watched listened to a few more. What do you guys think about the podcast and how it ended, or like near the ending? What do you guys think?
So I've thoroughly enjoyed it. I mean, I know going into it, it's kind of a, there are some stories you go into and you're like, everything's going to work out great.
Yeah.
This is no, and I don't, well, I kind of have some insight now, but I think the whole time, you're not, so I really enjoyed it. But I went into this sort of like, this is going to be, and I will honestly, I started reading the game book, and the way my brain works is I begin to read a game book and I begin to write a story.
Exactly.
And
Same.
the one that I wrote in my head is awful and terrible, and it ends like the saddest. And then that's what that system did to my brain.
That's what the Electric State does.
Yeah, and so I think it's a great representation. I think folks should listen to it. The world is sad and terrifying. I thought your players, your cast, were very good. So there's a lot of stuff we didn't cover. Your cast is one we didn't talk about. I thought they were.
They knew their characters.
I could believe these people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're great.
And
They're
I
great.
think in your after action, you talked about there's a tension mechanic that
Tension,
you
yeah.
didn't really need to apply mechanically as much because the story and the players themselves kind of there would. I mean, it's not like there wasn't lack of tension, right?
Yeah.
So I think it was a compelling. There were compelling characters. It was a compelling story, and I think folks should check it out. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It was
I-
well done, and I
now
think
my-
your sound effects.
Yes.
I don't. Nathan would probably wish I'd ask some very technical questions about what you use to
Oh.
edit and all that.
Oh, you don't want that right now. This is not what this show's about, Matt.
Right. Well, I know. He will go send me our last person. He's like right before it. I get these little Discord notifications like ask him what tools he uses for the. It's like,
What tools? I love it.
So I thought.
no.
Oh, sorry. You're done? Because I want
Yeah, that's
to.
it.
I want to talk about how
I
great the
want
show
to
was.
talk about it.
So I thought your cold open was great. Now, mind you, I've only listened to 2 episodes, and I thought the characters, how they opened up about who they were,
Yeah.
was good. They gave a good definition of what their motivation was, and how they met. They worked it really well how they met. It's sort of because it was sort of like I said, they had different motivations. Two of them had something together, but the other 2 are like, I'm doing this for this reason, and I need to go here for another reason.
Yeah.
I get to the last episode, and I want to say Quentin Tarantino-esque ending because it wasn't the good ending. It's like, I'm going to do this. You fail because the dice tell a story too, right?
Right. The dice.
That's,
So it
that's
failed.
such a good comparison, Quentin Tarantino. I'm going
And
to
it
tell
went,
them that.
and it goes in a direction, and the last guy, and the one character at the end sitting there, something they wanted to do, they do, and they're sitting there like, oh, I really wish this and this and this, and it's not. It's an ending that, and there's a cliffhanger because, and I won't get into what it is,
Yeah.
So, but I thought that was all. The characters did well. You set up the story well, and it moved along well, like it was supposed to, like you said it should. And I'm going to enjoy listening to the rest of these episodes, which I'm probably going to listen to while I'm driving to Geek Weekend.
Perfect.
But
Perfect.
Yeah, we can chat
now,
about it.
my other question, the last question I have, and I
Yeah.
think it's important.
Yeah.
You're going to continue the Electric State because you're done season 1. Is there going to be a season 2?
There is going to be a season 2. There might be less production value because that was the hardest part. That was the most straining on me. But I still love the settings, and I
Good.
still love this world. So I put out a poll for some new premises, and I wanted to get everybody's thoughts. So season 2 is
Good.
coming. Yeah.
Good. I think it'll be. I think you can build on that because it's a rich, dark, and there's so many directions you can go with that.
Oh
That's
yeah,
awesome.
there are so many. We have so much to explore still. So
Oh, good. That's awesome. That's good to hear. So, in closing, I want to thank Maia.
Maia.
Maia, sorry, I screwed up the end. I looked in the
almost did
corner.
it.
Maia.
so close.
I started going Ma, and then I screwed up because I looked at you and because I got it spelled out here. I apologize. Listen, I didn't screw it up initially. I felt very proud of myself.
I can
about
throw
that.
no stones. I probably said your name like 50 times out loud, just
Yeah.
so I would remember. But I
But-
told him I was like, get this.
I will make up for it by putting up this.
Woo.
Looking for Mom.
You need
Yes.
to go and like and subscribe over to the
Yes,
website.
I'm going to go like and subscribe. All these things I'm putting up. Go to Twitter. Say hello, hi, how you doing? Have a nice day.
Exactly.
Of course, there's the Old People podcast. You
That's
can go
us,
join
yeah.
us.
Don't forget us
And
too.
please like, follow, and subscribe.
Yes.
I really want to thank once again Maia for coming on.
Okay. Yeah.
And Malcolm put up. Malcolm, you didn't even have to say it once. I don't want to hear you. You do this shit to me all the time. You're coming in like Sean, blah 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 blah. Like you son of a bitch, you weren't even there.
Thanks,
Oh,
Malcolm.
God.
Malcolm,
Yeah.
he did it for the culture. Thank you.
There you go.
Yeah, Malcolm. No, Malcolm did it for himself. Yeah,
Supposed
sociopath.
to
Anyway,
make Sean look bad.
yeah, which is fair. In fairness, I do it to myself. So, anyway, I want to thank everybody for joining us. I want to, we are happy. I hope you guys enjoyed it a lot. And please go listen to the Electric State. Go to see Mom and
Go to
listen
see
us.
Mom.
Find mom.
Go see
Go
Mom.
Find mom.
Go
Go
look
find
for
Mom.
Where the
Go
heck
look
is
for Mom.
Right.
Where the
She
heck
lost-
is Mom?
She lost her mind a few years ago. She
I
was
know.
wandering around.
She's on them drugs.
You know, it's
but-
funny what they call that when they're missing is the silver alert. That's what we
Oh.
call our bits from like the cons when we do our updates. They're all the
Okay.
silver alerts.
Silver
Yeah,
alerts.
'cause we're old.
Okay, there we go. Nice.
And on that bombshell, we are going to end this stream. Take care, good night, and be safe, everyone. Bye-bye.
All right.